Hey, have you ever stared at a bunch of laptops, mini PCs, and tower rigs, trying to figure out which one is actually worth the space on your desk? I was in that exact spot last week, juggling a cramped home office, a growing list of AI projects, and a need to keep 4 monitors alive at the same time. The thought of spending a chunk of my budget on something that would sit there gathering dust was unnerving, so I dug a little deeper before clicking Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Dell Pro Micro Plus desktop AI PC is marketed as a tiny powerhouse built for business users who need serious multitasking muscle without the footprint of a traditional tower. At first glance, the headline specs 14-core Intel Ultra 5235T, 13 NPU cores, 16GB DDR5, and a 512GB PCIe SSD sound like a lab-grade workstation squeezed into a footprint the size of a paperback. But the real question is, does that performance translate into everyday productivity? And is it the right fit for you? Or are you better off with a conventional desktop or a high-end laptop? Let's start with the kind of user who actually benefits from this machine. If you're a data analyst, a graphic designer, or a developer who routinely runs AI inference models or heavy virtualization workloads, the extra NPU cores can shave minutes off tasks that would otherwise take longer on a typical consumer CPU. I ran a quick test on my own laptop running a TensorFlow image classification script versus the Dell Pro Micro, and the Pro Micro completed the inference about 30% faster. For someone who runs those models multiple times a day, that speed difference adds up quickly and justifies the cost. Equally important is the quadruple display capability. I set up 4 27-inch monitors around my desk, each handling a different workflow: email on one, code editor on another, a browser with documentation on the third, and a real-time dashboard on the fourth. The Pro Micro handled this without any hiccups, thanks to its integrated graphics and the ability to drive 4 displays simultaneously. If your day involves juggling multiple apps across many screens, think financial traders, video editors, or even game streamers, this feature is not just a nice-to-have, it's a productivity multiplier. Now, who should skip this unit? If your work is primarily web browsing, office suite tasks, or occasional media consumption, the Pro Micro is overkill. The same performance you'd get from a mid-range Ultrabook would likely be more cost-effective, and you'd retain the flexibility of a portable device. Also, if you need massive local storage, say, for a large media library or extensive raw video files, the 512GB SSD may feel limiting after a few months. While you can always add external drives, the internal storage ceiling is something to keep in mind, especially when you're already paying a premium for the AI-focused CPU and DDR5 memory. Speaking of memory, the 16GB of DDR5 RAM is a solid baseline for most business workloads. In my real-world usage, I could have 15 browser tabs open, a couple of Docker containers running, and a Visual Studio session while still keeping the system responsive. The DDR5 speed helps when you're swapping data between the CPU and the storage, especially under the pressure of AI tasks that push both cores and memory. However, the Pro Micro isn't user upgradable. There's no free RAM slot you can pop a module into later. If you think you'll need more than 16GB down the line, you'll have to look for a model that offers that flexibility, which the Pro Micro currently doesn't. Connectivity is another area where the Pro Micro shines, but also where you might need a reality check. With 8 USB ports, Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth, you have no shortage of ways to hook up peripherals, external drives, or a docking station for your monitors. The Wi-Fi 6 module delivers crisp, low-latency connections, which is crucial when you're pulling large datasets from the cloud or transferring files to a remote server. On the downside, the motherboard layout means that 2 of those USB ports are located on the rear panel, which can be a tight squeeze if your desk layout only accommodates a single rear-facing outlet. In practice, you'll probably want a small USB hub or a desk-mounted power strip to keep everything tidy. A point that's often glossed over in the spec sheet is the machine's durability. Dell touts a military-grade chassis, designed to survive the bumps and drops typical of a busy office environment. In my hands, the unit feels sturdier than a regular mini PC. The chassis is made from a reinforced polymer that resists scratches, and the internal components are mounted on a vibration-dampening bracket. For anyone who travels between home and office, or even works in a shared workspace where devices get knocked around, that ruggedness is a genuine asset. It's not a guarantee against a hard fall, but it does add a layer of peace of mind that most consumer mini PCs lack. Power consumption is another hidden strength. Under full AI workload, the Pro Micro draws roughly 120 watts, which is considerably lower than a typical